We've talked a lot about Apple's foldable iPhone that's set to come out in September of this upcoming year. And we've seen some mock-ups and heard about dimensions and now we go hands-on with one. This is the iPhone Fold or whatever they're going to call it. Okay, really not hands-on with one personally. This is the best early hand-on experience though I think we're going to get for a while, as recent rumors suggest that we'll now have a display that's around 5.4 inches when closed and then 7.6 inches when opened up. And it turns out that one 3D designer has created a mock-up based on what we've heard so far. And if you have a 3D printer at home, you can actually do the same thing here. And you can print one. It's on Maker World. And it allows you to easily create one like I did here. And I have to say, this is kind of the exact form factor that I was hoping for. This form factor makes the iPhone a lot shorter and wider when closed, and then very iPad mini-like when unfolded here. And I think that's the better approach than what some of the other OEMs have done in the past with their early entries into the market. Samsung still kind of goes for that very tall and narrow outer screen compared to Google Pixel's Fold, where it goes more towards that smaller 5.5 outer display, or at least the early one did. It was more like a standard slab phone, just kind of shrunken down, and then it gives you a tablet feel when you unfold it. Again, this was more of that early Google Pixel Fold, as now the current generation is still shorter and wider compared to Samsung's, but it's a lot bigger. So it's a larger outer display, and then you have a larger inner display experience. But compared to the iPhone, as you can see, I've been putting up a lot of these side by side, and it's just significantly bigger. Obviously, since this is a rumored version of the device, take all of this with a grain of salt. But if these rumors are true, there's a solid chance that the iPhone Fold could look something pretty close to this. Now, before we get into the rest of this video, I do want to take a quick minute to talk about today's sponsor, Surfshark. If you're anything like me, you're constantly online streaming, shopping, traveling, working from coffee shops, and all of that is going through whatever public or home network you're connected to. That's why I use Surfshark. It's a VPN that encrypts everything you do online, so your activity is hidden from snoopers, trackers, and even your internet provider. And you can change your virtual location with just one tap to access the content and deals you actually want to see. With one Surfshark account, you can cover your whole household because it works on unlimited devices at the same time. So phones, tablets, laptops, and even some TVs, so you don't have to pick and choose which ones stay protected. It's great for securing yourself on public Wi-Fi, checking prices when you're booking flights or hotels, and safely accessing your usual websites and services when you're abroad. And if you ever get stuck, there's 24/7 customer support, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. So honestly, you can try this completely risk-free. If you want to protect your privacy and support the channel, click the link in the description down below, or simply go to surfshark.com/macrumors, or use code macrumors at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Thanks Surfshark for sponsoring this video. On the back, we have a very similar style, kind of design to what we have with the new Pro models, with what appears to be a cutout here for the glass and wireless charging, and then the rest would be some sort of metal. Aluminum would be my opinion, but we've had a lot of conflicting reports that suggest that the foldable iPhone will have a titanium chassis, with the hinge constructed from a combination of titanium and stainless steel. The frame itself will use a titanium alloy to prevent bending issues, a solution that has worked well for Apple's new ultra-thin iPhone Air. However, analyst Jeff Pugh believes that Apple is using aluminum and titanium mixed together, whereas Ming-Chi Kuo believes a mix of stainless steel and titanium has been Apple's preferred design choice. Either way, aside from the durability of the glass, the hinge is the next important part here of any good foldable, and so durable and flexible materials here are going to prove to be really important and be interesting to see exactly what materials Apple decides to go with and how it engineers this hinge. Obviously, Apple isn't going to go with plastic as this 3D printed model is made up of because, well, it's already broken. That would be a terrible choice. The camera bar here on the back extends all the way across the back of the phone, just like we see on current iPhone models. And we have 2 cameras here, which is right in line with what reports and leaks have suggested. It appears Apple will go with that wide and ultra-wide 2-camera setup, which is a bit of a bummer for me because I feel like, and I'm not an engineer, but just looking at it, I feel like we could squeeze in a 3rd camera. Other phone companies have done that. There have been 3, 4 cameras on a foldable before. And that would make for an infinitely better option, in my opinion, especially for the target demographics of this phone. I feel like this is a pro phone for a lot of people, and so having the pro camera system would be great. But otherwise, people who value camera more will probably just jump up to the iPhone Pro models and kind of skip this one, but we'll have to wait and see which one will actually be true. Lastly, we have a side button here on the right, which we assume will house a Touch ID fingerprint reader instead of Apple inserting its Face ID technology into this first generation folding iPhone. Now, this button is kind of high up on the side here. Hopefully, it actually moves down a little bit further where I feel like it would be a little bit more natural. And I don't really love a fingerprint sensor power button on other phones or even on the iPad with Touch ID, but that's mostly due to location. It's on the top of the iPad. Not so much the functionality with the authentication. I think Touch ID works fine in a power button, but yeah, hopefully Apple does a really good job with its implementation. There's also a volume rocker on the top, which is perfectly fine here. Unless you hold it in portrait, then it's kind of on the left side. But yeah, that's more so the design of the rest of the phone. When you unfold the device, we should expect to see a near 7.7-inch inner display in what appears to be a 4.3 aspect ratio. Now, a 4.3 inner display would allow Apple to more easily transfer established multitasking features from iPadOS into this foldable form. Here, the unfolded state becomes the main mode of use, prioritizing a lightweight, ultra-portable iPad experience over a stretched-out smartphone. The inner display is said to be virtually crease-free as well, which, thanks to Apple's use of a metal plate that can disperse and control the stress generated by bending the display, which is all according to analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. Apple is said to be using liquid metal in the hinges to improve durability and help eliminate screen creasing. Liquid metal, manufactured using a die casting process, has been chosen by Apple to address this common issue. With other foldables, as you can see, they all have a very visible crease. It's gotten better over the years, but yeah, I mean, there's still a crease problem that a lot of other manufacturers just haven't been able to address, so Apple is looking to completely eliminate that, which is probably why it's taken a lot longer for Apple to release a foldable iPhone. But it will be the first foldable iPhone if Apple is able to make it work somehow without a crease. Obviously, with this 3D printed model, we have quite the crease here. In fact, it pretty much kind of separates the whole thing into two displays, and it gives me some serious Microsoft Duo vibes, which honestly, aside from the fact that we are pretty sure it won't have two separate displays, and the Duo also doesn't have an outer display, the form factor is pretty consistent with what I'm experiencing here. If you've ever held that phone before, it does kind of feel a lot like this when you open it up and you have those two displays, except Apple will most likely just do one entire display here on the inside. Now, software will also be a major factor here, and Apple really needs to nail this experience because otherwise, if the Fold doesn't have some sort of iPadOS mode when unfolded or special features, there's really not much to attract those who are kind of skeptical of this form factor to begin with over from the original iPhone slab design. I think Apple will have something good up its sleeve for this, or at the very least, the smart move in my opinion is just somehow offer iOS out here, iPadOS in here, and I don't know how exactly Apple's going to figure out, having iOS versions and iPadOS versions. We don't want to obviously download two different versions of the same app, but that's what the developers and Apple will figure out. They get paid the big bucks for that, and so hopefully they'll figure out a way on the back end to make it all work out. But if we can get iPad apps on this and then iOS apps out here that are better optimized for the screen, that would be really cool. Current reports put Apple's new foldable somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500 in the US, making it the most expensive iPhone yet. Some analysts think it'll probably land closer to $1,800 to $2,000, while others are expecting $2,399. The interesting part is Ming-Chi Kuo now says Apple's hinge should cost far less than expected to create, so $70 to $80 instead of $100 plus, which was what was predicted, thanks to better assembly design and Foxconn's production scaling. Whether that savings translates to a lower retail price or just boosts Apple's profit margins is still unclear, but either way, demand for Apple's fan base is expected to be strong if the hardware lives up to the hype. More importantly, if the software is there to back it up. But I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. This is kind of a pseudo hands-on here. This thing is falling apart at this point, so not sure how long it's going to last, but I do kind of like this. It is a little shorter and stubbier than what I would have liked, but I was hoping it was kind of in this style. It's going to be weird to kind of work on a smaller outer display, but I think we'll all get used to it, especially since it's wide enough to be able to kind of maneuver around and have a more traditional phone experience compared to something that's taller and narrower. But I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Would you buy something that looks like this? Are you kind of upset that you'd only get 2 cameras, you'd miss out on most likely what would be the telephoto lens, let me know in those comments down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.